Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's discussion. I'm Kim Turner, and I'm delighted to be hosting Sean Herrera from Pepperdine University. Sean is not only a professor with sought-after leadership and innovation courses, he also leads the university's crowdsourced ideation program. Today, Sean will be sharing how they are using crowdsourcing and ideation challenges to drive innovation at Pepperdine, focusing on the student experience as well as future curriculum and more. As the provider of the idea management solution that supports these efforts, it's always exciting for us to see the outcomes that our customers are driving. First, I'd like to share a few comments about Spigot. Spigot enables organizations to leverage the power of the crowd to create and manage a pipeline of ideas. These ideas translate into initiatives that drive new business strategies, new product development, operational efficiencies, and employee engagement. Spigot enables leaders to find the best ideas and foster a culture of innovation. Spigot is the most widely adopted ideation management solution, serving some of the world's foremost and recognizable organizations, including launching more than 14,000 challenges across many industries and geographies. This translates not only into a level of expertise that is highly valued by our customers, but also into a vast innovation community of which customers like Sean are a part. On that note, I'm delighted to turn it over to Sean to share his experience with leveraging idea challenges to drive innovation in education. Sean?
Hi, Kim. Thanks for doing that. My name is Sean Herrera, work with Pepperdine, teach a few classes over there. I'm also the Director of Corporate Relations, which actually is expanding our school out to corporations and executive education opportunities. What we do at Pepperdine is actually a set of schools where it's not just one campus. We actually have in the picture there, you're looking at our lower campus, which is our undergrad campus called Seaver. And we also have 4 graduate campuses, which is our law school, our public policy, education and psychology, and also Grazia Dia, which I work for, is our business school. And if you were to look at this picture here, actually up to the left, that's where the graduate campus would be, up the hill. So down here, the lower campus is what I get to look at. It's pretty cool. The Grazia Dia Business School shapes values-centered leaders. We believe that successful management seeks collective good along with individual profit. So we're not just about making the best leaders in the world. Our dean likes to say we make the best leaders for the world, and that's kind of what our purpose is. And Spigot is what we're going to be using now. We call it Grazia Dia, which is our crowdsourcing platform. We're using Spigot to actually collectively harness all the intelligence of our community. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later here. But looking at this view, hopefully it makes you interested in the webinar, get to watch here, and we'll kind of talk about what we're doing here at Pepperdine. Our background, our benefactor is George Graziadillo. And what he would always say is, I don't want to hear why we can't do it. I want to hear how do we do this? And that's kind of the spirit of innovation, entrepreneurship. You know, don't say what already is done, what could be done. And he was all about thinking outside the box, asking questions, harnessing everyone's ideas. And that's kind of the background we come from as a business school. The little background is to give you the makeup of our school. Our campus, we have multiple campuses. We're not just a single campus in Malibu. Actually, majority of our business school is in our West LA campus in Silicon Beach. We have a Calabasas campus opening up very shortly here, Encino, Irvine, and also in the Bay Area in San Jose. So we have multiple campuses, including our online ability. So we're not just one place where everyone meets. We're actually distributed across multiple campuses, which makes Spigot a great tool because people ordinarily wouldn't talk to each other all the time, get to interact right away. So that's what Spigot does for us, helps all of our people communicate, collaborate, and talk rather than just the people in your same building. Our enrollment is about 2,000 students or so, 55-45 is the ratio male to female, almost 100 full-time faculty, 30 adjuncts, and our average class size is small, 26, and 86% of our classes have less than 35 students. So we're really focused on small class size engagement, collaborative environment, and a teaching environment where it's not a lecture hall, it's actually engaging. And we have about 40,000 plus alumni worldwide from our business school and 100,000 from the university itself total. So our platform, Spigot, we've named it Grazia Dia, which an obvious take on our name, Graziadillo. It's Graz and then idea, creating ideas. So when the dean heard that, he said, that sounds great, that's our name. So that's what it is, and that's our platform, we call it. How we introduced Gracia Dia to Pepperdine is we actually knew it needed to be from the leader itself. So our dean, Derek Van Rensburg, he is in essence the CEO of our business school. He's in charge of everything. So we needed to have a message come directly from him to everyone about what we're doing. So what we did is we filmed a short little video, which we're going to show you here in a second. And it was him, informally just making the case of why the pace of innovation and change is really going exponentially in the world. And for a business school, we need to keep up with that. So that's what this video is going to show.
As you all know, the pace of innovation and change in our world is relentless. It's exponential, actually. So what does that mean for a business school? Well, it means we need to keep pace with change. And in a sense, we almost need to be disrupting ourselves on occasion, trying new ideas and thinking ahead and staying ahead of the curve. So our goal is to create and nurture an entrepreneurial mindset and continue to sustain that in the school so that we can deliver more value, more quickly, and more creatively to our community. So we're planning to launch Graziidea. It's a crowdsourcing platform that is powered by Spigot. So specifically, the Graziidea platform allows us to form a crowd, target it to people who know us, you, our community, to engage around a very specific question or challenge or topic, to then solicit new ideas around that topic, to share those ideas real time and curate them real time and bring them to life so that we can drive innovation. Identifying new ideas, though, is going to take the entire community. And to bring the right solutions to challenges will require a really collaborative effort. Please keep a watch out in your emails. It'll be our first challenge and it's going to go out to our community. And please participate, be open to new ideas, share them generously, embrace new possibilities so that we can continue to evolve and grow and drive our innovation agenda. So welcome to the Graziidea platform, a crowdsourcing tool powered by Spigot.
Thank you for that. So that is how we introduced this to our audience. And the first challenge we did, the audience was our faculty, our staff, and also our first-year MBA students. We wanted to get everyone's feedback on how they felt should be some changes to our system. So you see there's little cute pictures there. That's our faculty, staff. That's our students. That's our alumni. In this first challenge we did, our alumni was not part of the engagement. It was just our faculty, staff, and students to try to get some internal feel of what they felt we should be doing. And I'll show you in a second here what that first challenge was. So our first challenge, we were actually asking faculty, staff, and students how they felt we could better improve the prospective student experience. That means when people are looking at Pepperdine, how can we do a better job of the first onboarding, the recruiting, the explaining of Pepperdine when they first go through admissions, financial aid? What can we do better? That's what we wanted to know. And instead of just having it be top down, the dean says do this. Our assistant dean of operations said, let's ask everyone. So we asked everyone, what do you think we should be doing? And we had an email go out. Almost 400 people were included in this email, so faculty, staff, some students. And of those 400, these were our engagement results. We had 63 ideas net from all that, the engagement, 159 comments, 398 votes on all the ideas, and about 2,400 qualified page views. So for us, that's quite a large engagement. If you're a multinational, huge corporation, you'll see much more than this. But for us, being a smaller school, it was a lot. We had 39 people actually become ideators, suggesting ideas. 44 were commenters. 80 people were voters. 175 visitors. So basically, out of the 400 emails, a little bit less than that went out, 175 decided to actually participate, either by doing ideas, voting, or just being, a viewer watching what's going on. So we had 41% of our users actually submit an idea, pretty good. And then 84% of the users actually voted. So 8 out of 10 people that came into the platform actually participated and voted, not just looked at everything. And we have 95 what they called active users doing this out of the 175. Then you can see on the chart there, this is actually information from Spigot, which is kind of cool. You press a button and boom, all this stuff comes up. And this was day by day during the challenge what was going on. So you can see within that 30-day or so window when things were happening. So that's pretty cool. The actually results of our first challenge engagement, it shows here, which all the users can see, what's called the top innovators. So Robin Doty, who's our executive director of alumni affairs, she's a go-getter. She has lots of ideas, and she just started plugging them into our system here. So she had 6 ideas that she put in of ways that we could help improve the student experience. Rachel Gutler is one of our top recruiters. She's great. She had a bunch of ideas, and it kind of goes from there of people putting in ideas. So the system almost puts a little scoreboard up there where people are, somewhat competitive. They, you know what, I want more ideas. I need to beat Robin. I better put in 7 ideas. And then it shows the activity stream over there. So this kind of helped everybody be engaged because they get to see what everyone else is doing. If you put an idea in an inbox or, a suggestion box, you don't know where it went. You don't know if anybody read it. This system actually creates engagement, which was a great byproduct of the ideas. The ideas were wonderful. We're using them, putting them in place. But the byproduct was the engagement. And for us being a distributed campus across multiple cities, that was a real important thing for us. And it was a great thing that Spigot, the platform Grazidia provides, is that engagement. This is what we put on our page when users came in. They got to see how it works. So to give it some transparency, rather than a blind suggestion box, this actually tells them, here's what happens. So we showed people, our users, when you come in and submit an idea in phase 1, if you want to move it to the next stage, your idea has to have 10 people look at it, has to at least get 5 votes they liked it, and 1 person's got a comment. That we set it very low to make it an easy win. So once that happens, it moves to the next stage, and it goes on to the collaboration and crowd validation, basically. And at that point, we told them to go past that stage, you need to have 20 views, 10 people like your idea, and 3 people comment. And if that happened, we use that as a trigger to say, okay, if that happens, that's enough for it to go to expert review, and our panel of expert reviewers will then look at the idea. So that's a way to filter out in our system, the Grazidia system, not just all the ideas, but the ones that really get a lot of traction, the crowd talks about, this engagement. Those are the ones we look at to see if it's something we can implement. Otherwise, if we had all the ideas coming in, our expert review panel couldn't have the time to do it. It'd be too much. So Spigot's kind of a great way of sorting and sifting to finding ideas that the crowd thinks are good ideas that we should really look into. And if you look on the right, it kind of shows you the breakdown of all the submissions. That's the whole pie chart there. 2/3, 67%, didn't make it past that first phase. So someone thought it was a great idea, but nobody else did. Okay, that's fine. But 1/3 actually went to the next stage. And of that, 13% of the total ideas submitted actually got to go to selection, or were selected after expert review. So 1/3 went to expert review, and then 13% of the total actually were chosen. And I'll show you that in a second. So the winners, this is our homepage of our challenge. This is what the users would see. And up there in the middle, you see a little YouTube video. That was Professor Bob McQuaid, our Associate Dean of Operations, talking about how this challenge will work. So we didn't just put an email out, put in text writing. People are too busy for that. But they'll watch a 2-3 minute video. So that was actually a video of Professor McQuaid telling everyone, this is how it works. This is what we're doing. Here's how to vote. Here's how to put your idea. So it made it really simple and user-friendly because it gave video instructions. And that's what people want to see these days. So the results page here, this shows the challenge is finished. And this is what we put on there to let them know 63 ideas came in. Of those ideas, 21 got the required views. And of those 21, 13 were put on to be selected and for expert review. And of those 13, our leadership team selected 8 of them for implementing right away. Thank you, your voices were heard. So this gives feedback and transparency to the audience saying, you did something, thank you for doing it, here's the results, so people know what happened. Otherwise, they're just throwing ideas in a dark room, have no idea what's happening. People want to know the impact of their actions, the results, they want to see what's happening. And Spigot's a great way with the Grazidia platform. We actually can communicate back with the crowd, here's what happened, thank you for your time. Otherwise, they're not coming back. They're not going to do a lot of work, not see any results, and the next time you do it, want to come back again. We had to give them feedback, and that's what this was. Some lessons learned, because not everything's perfect, especially the first time you do it. Spigot was great. They handheld us through the whole process, but there's always things you learn you can do better the next time. We saw definitely the need for ongoing communication and encourage participation, because everyone is so busy. The ongoing, basically saying, hey, remember we're doing this, that was a very important thing. So emails going out, people talking to each other. If you put up an idea, emailing some of your colleagues, hey, look at my idea. If you like it, please vote. That kind of stuff was an important thing during that 2-week period where people were collaborating, putting ideas to get a lot of encouragement, a lot of participation going on. You needed some ongoing communication. So that was something we learned, that you need to plan before it starts so it just goes during that 2-week period. Also, the importance of moderators for encouraging collaboration. If someone puts an idea out, that's wonderful, but we had set up moderators to say, well, great, Sean, what do you mean by that? Encourage them to talk more and share ideas. Or another great thing is a moderator will say, oh, gosh, I saw Sean's idea, and if Brad looked at that, he'd really be into that. So the moderator would tag the other person and saying, hey, Brad, take a look at Sean's idea. What do you think? And it was kind of being like a facilitator in a room, which for us is pretty great because that's what our professors do. They're not lecturers. In our small classrooms, they're basically facilitators of learning. So having the moderator role for them was very natural, very easy. They were just trying to get ideas and spur them along. The bottleneck we found, which we were all warned about that is common in the platform there, was the expert review phase, because the people you pick for expert reviews, they're most likely the busiest people in your company. And we had to try to get them to use their time to actually do the expert reviews. So in the future, looking at it, what we should do is actually in their calendar, book out that time and say, okay, Bob, at this time, we're going to have you do on Friday from 2 to 4 o'clock. That's your time block. No one else can book a meeting. That's when you're going to do it. So instead of saying when you have time, please do that, we're actually going to know for the expert reviews before the challenge even starts, this is your blocked out calendar time. This is when you're going to do it. Done. And that'll be a lot better way than having it get delayed because people are waiting till they're not busy. That's never going to happen. Everyone's always busy. So you want to block out ahead of time that expert review phase plan for your people when they're going to do it. And it's not a lot of time. For us, it was going over those 13 ideas. It took about an hour or two. But if you didn't block out that time, busy people never have an hour or two to do some extra projects. So that's something we learned. And also a need for implementation plans of how you're going to put in the winning ideas. So we don't want to get to the point where the ideas are selected. Great, we have those 8 ideas. Now what? There should already be a plan in place of when the winning ideas are selected, here's how we're going to fund them, here's how we're going to put them in place. We don't know what the ideas are yet, but we know when they come in, we want to do them. So let's have a plan for that. So that's some lessons we learned from our first challenge. Our next challenge, in case you're interested, is going to be called Thriving in a World of Smart Machines and People. Basically, what's the hot topic now is the world of AI, and things are changing where a lot of industries may no longer exist, or not may, they will no longer exist in their current form because of the role of artificial intelligence and smart machines. So basically, our dean wants to ask everyone, in this new world, what is our place? So what is the role of business education in a future where smart machines and people must coexist more closely than ever in business? So we're excited this audience is going to be only students. The faculty have their ideas, that's fine. The staff have their ideas. We want to hear from the students, basically asking them, what should we be teaching you? Instead of a business school telling you, you're going to learn this, we want to hear from them, MBA students and master students. What do you think we should be teaching you? In this new world we're going to be going into, which you're going to be a part of and working as executives, what do you think we should be teaching you? So we're excited to get their innovative ideas from all these students, like what they feel the future is going to be and what should we be teaching them. And we're going to use that to affect our curriculum and really mesh with what the future is going to need, rather than just a few people in the ivory tower saying, here's what's going to happen. We're asking everyone, what would you like us to be doing? And we feel like we'll be much more responsive to the community by doing that as a business school. So that's the presentation, real short and simple. If you liked the presentation, my name is Sean Herrera. If you did not like the presentation, my name was Scott Raskin, CEO of Spigot, joking aside there. But that's kind of in a quick summary of what we started with Spigot, how we began, what we did, and the results we're getting from it. So if you guys have any questions, I'd love to answer it, give you any further explanation, but that's a real quick overview of what we're doing now at our university with crowdsourcing and innovation.
Thanks so much, Sean. Really appreciate all of your comments there. Just a couple of questions that have come in already, and a reminder, if you have a question and have not yet submitted it, you can put it in the chat box and they'll go to webinar control panel. First question would be, at the beginning you mentioned that it was really important that the initial communications come from the dean. So for audience members who are just thinking about launching a program, what is your perspective on why it's so important that the communications came from the dean?
Right. And with any change leadership program or anything you want to use innovation, you need to get buy-in. And the easiest way to get buy-in is when the person at the top says, I believe in this, we're doing this. And not you're doing this, we're doing this. There's a difference. When a leader says you're doing this, it's taken as one of those things that, I'm too good for this, but you guys should do it. When the leader says we're doing this, there's buy-in because they go, wow, well, if the head person's doing it, I guess I should take a look at it too. So we felt it was important not just to be one more of those things that someone suggested, but actually something from the top where they said, look, this is something we're going to do. I believe in this. We believe in this. This is what's going to happen. So if at all possible, if you can get the buy-in from as high up to the top as you can, that's going to really help everyone wanting to come on board because they realize it's not one more thing that might change direction tomorrow. This came from the top. That's something important that we, not I, we are going to do.
That's a great point. A follow-up question on that would be, you made emphasis on what we're going to do. So the dean communicated in that way in the video. Were there other ways that the dean participated in the program to demonstrate that sponsorship and buy-in throughout, or recommendations that you would have that organizations consider?
Yeah, definitely. And the way to do it is not by talking, but by doing. So actually, Dean Van Rensburg and Bob McQuaid, our Associate Dean of Operations, who was the challenge sponsor of this particular challenge, they were the first couple ideas coming in. So more than saying, I want this to happen, they actually did it. They picked up the tool and started doing it themselves. So they led by example. And that's the most powerful thing you can do in leadership. It's one thing to say, another thing to do. So they went in there and put in their ideas. And they didn't want everyone just to vote for their ideas because it was theirs. And they tried to make it, not pressure, like, hey, this is the dean's idea, you better vote for it. That wasn't the case. But they wanted to show that they were actually involved and not just saying to do it. They were in the battle doing it with all the troops. And that made everyone really, oh gosh, well, if the dean did it, I better do it too. So that's something they can really do rather than say or an email or some other video. The fact that they themselves get in and start leading by example, that was huge.
Yes, yes. One of the things that you commented on also, you made a comparison to the blind suggestion box. And at a couple of points in your presentation, you commented about transparency. You want to talk a little bit about why that transparency into, for example, the selection criteria were so important?
Yeah, so instead of saying it was the favorites or, well, gosh, that person they really like at the business school, whatever politics you want to think, because it was their idea, that's why it was chosen. And we made it clear we're not selecting someone's idea because it's their idea. We want the best ideas, regardless of who it is. So if it was a professor, if it was a first-year student, if it was a staff who works and answers the phones and returns calls, it doesn't matter. If you've got the best idea, we want your idea, not just because it was you. So not just because the dean put an idea did that get selected. It was whoever had the best idea. We wanted those ideas regardless of actually who submitted them. So when you have transparency, people are more likely to do it because they don't think, well, gosh, there's some other criteria they're judging on besides what they say. No, if you get 10 views and 5 people like it and 2 comment, we told them exactly what the criteria was. So basically, it's like you're playing a basketball game, and I told them the hoop is 10 feet tall, it's this far from the free throw line, that's the rules of the game, go, everyone's equal. They felt a lot more willing to participate because they knew the rules of the game. They knew it wasn't fixed, they knew it wasn't hidden, it was transparent, out in the open, and if their idea got that traction, it would go to the next stage. And the cool thing is, since they knew that, they could then go round up support. So if I know I need to get 10 views and 5 people to like it and a comment, I'm going to talk to my colleagues and go, hey, Steve, I need you to go online and vote for my idea. So they were actually, being our troops on the ground, rallying support, which I don't want to have a bad idea go through, but the mere fact that it caused engagement, it's almost worth, it's a little byproduct there. It's fine. So that's kind of what we did with transparency, is to let them know this is what it is. And then when we got to the final expert review phase of those 13, we told them that they would be looking at the ability for our school to implement. Was it financially possible? What was the benefit? So it was a lot more detailed for the expert review, but the initial first part of selection was very transparent because it was very easy to do.
And you commented that you ran into a bottleneck at that expert review stage, but can you comment about how much work was involved in terms of sorting the ideas and getting them to that point?
The work involved for us was almost nothing because the software did it. So that was wonderful. The software did all the sorting, and it told us, based on your criteria, here's what you're supposed to submit to your leadership team. So we just took what the software told us. The software said, Grazidia platform said, look, here's all your ideas, and here's the one that bubbled to the next stages. So if you'd like to, move these 13 ideas to expert review. So we had to confirm moving it on, but the software did all the work, which imagine if we were trying to crowdsource and ask everybody, it'd be a full-time job. So we just had the software do all the work, and we said, oh, well, the Grazidia platform said we're supposed to submit these 13 ideas to our leadership team, and then that's where the work came in, where they actually took a couple hours and thought through the ideas and talked to each other and gave ratings back. And that was the real work, which we just had to, carve out some time. But in terms of submitting the ideas to them, we didn't do anything. It was basically the software telling us what the crowd liked.
Got it. How did you overcome any resistance from experts, or in terms of getting those experts on board to be on the review panel?
That I could have done a much better job with, looking back hindsight, and that just needed to be talking and selling the importance of it. So if that would have done ahead of time, if I would actually sat and talked to him or on the phone, him or her, and just said, hey, we need about an hour or two of your time. Can I schedule this in your calendar? It would have been done. But it was kind of like, you're going to be an expert reviewer. Okay, fine, but never actually telling them, this is the time I need from you. So going back in time, that's what I would have done better. I would have said, hey, Chris, I need 2 hours of your time. Can we look at your calendar right now from 3 weeks from now? Great. I'm going to carve that out before somebody else does. And if I would have done that, would have been fine. So looking back, it was my mistake. If I would have done that better, it wouldn't have been a bottleneck. But that's, you learn as you go and don't do the next time.
So from your perspective, the resistance was really not about resistance to participate, but more timing.
Yeah, it's just everyone's busy
right?
everyone's busy with their lives and their work and everything they're doing. And for you to then say, hey, this week I need to do this. Well, my calendar's already full. What should I do? I'm overwhelmed. But if you were to catch someone 3-4 weeks out, their calendar's probably not full yet. It would have been much easier. So it wasn't resistance in terms of not wanting to. It was resistance just basically saying, look, I'm overwhelmed with my current work. How can I add these other 2 hours on? So that's just a lesson learned that can easily be overcome.
Mm-hmm. Another question from the audience with this comment: it seems to be our biggest struggle to get sponsors to understand that there's got to be a plan for doing something more than just reading and reacting to ideas. So what's your strategy for ensuring that a pathway to execution exists in advance of a challenge?
Yeah, so a sponsor can't just say, you are going to do this. It has to be the we again. So if the sponsor's bought in, that's fine. If a sponsor's just doing it because they want to feel important and they want to feel like they're a sponsor of something, and once all ideas come in, they're not going to do anything, well, what's the point? That's regardless of Spigot or whatever else, that's not how business is going to work. But if that sponsor's really bought in and they're ready to lead the troops and go to battle with them, then the plan needs to be, look, when these ideas are netted out, what are we going to do? How are we going to implement them? And the sponsor's got to say, well, okay, well, if the idea comes in and if it's in with this budget that I can currently allocate and with this time frame, we're going to put it in. So it's almost like I heard someone say when I was at a training in Spigot before, I almost want a pledge from the sponsor ahead of time saying, if these ideas come in and these are the criteria you say, and if they meet all these, you're going to pledge and sign here that you're going to implement them. And it sounds a little childish, but it kind of puts in writing a little contract that, look, if we do this and these great ideas come in, I need your support that we're going to put them in place. Not think about it forever. Let's do it. And that's kind of something that it's a cultural thing, but it needs to happen.
So do you have that contract in place for your upcoming challenge that you shared?
I don't need to. Our dean is so gung ho, he's doing everything. So, but I'd imagine in the future, if someone else wants to do a challenge, I'm going to put that in place. A little short thing saying, look, here's your criteria. You're looking for this, and it comes in. You're going to put it in place. You have a budget, the authority. You're going to do it. But our dean has complete authority to do whatever he wants. So, and he's really gung ho. So this is happening no matter what.
Got it. Can you comment about any lessons learned in terms of running challenges where there are different crowds, so to speak, the difference between faculty versus students, and things that you need to take into consideration from that perspective?
That is a good point, and I can see where the moderators really can help in that. Because from us, if you look at our crowd, you're going to have professors who are in a way held in esteem from the students. And you might think when a comment goes in from a professor, an idea, a student might feel somewhat worrisome to say that's a bad idea. They don't want to offend someone they respect. So you just try to put it in a positive way where the moderator can just try to encourage that. Okay, Professor John Mooney writes this idea. a moderator could say, okay, Susan, what do you think about that idea? Feel free to speak your mind. And as long as it's made a safe place where they're not going to say, I'm going to punish you on the back end. If you don't like my idea, you get a bad grade. You can't do that kind of stuff. But it needs to be made a safe place where we're allowed to share and talk here. And as long as that's put ahead of time as the rules and the moderators encourage that and state that, people feel a lot more comfortable to share ideas. But if you're a student and you see your professor puts an idea, you might be hesitant to want to contradict him or her or say that's not a good idea. So you just need to make it a safe place where you're allowed to say your comments, where students should be allowed to say, I hear what you're saying, Dr. Tompkins, but I'm not sure if I agree with that. How about this idea? Have you considered this? And most of our professors are so open, they would probably reply back, oh, you know what? That's a good idea, Susan. I wasn't thinking about that. How about this? And that's really the power of this platform for Grazia for us. It's the back and forth, not just the one-way, lectures. It should be a back and forth collaboration where comments just start going and ideas start happening. That's collaboration. Collaboration is not professor puts an idea, everyone does like. That's not what this is all about. It's supposed to be you toss out an idea, it's a seed, it's a catalyst, and see where it goes. And sometimes the best ideas come from the worst ideas. Someone goes, I see your idea there. I'm not sure if that would work, but it made me think about this. What do you guys think about this idea? And then it goes. And that's kind of what this is all about. Just people getting together, talking, brainstorming, without having to have hundreds and hundreds of hours of meetings. We have enough meetings. Companies get really into their meetings and scheduling calendars and filling it up with conference calls. That's not really effective. This lets collaboration happen irregardless of place, irregardless of time. So it unbounds you from the physical limitations that current collaboration takes. And that's what we tell our people. This Grazia platform unbinds us from time, space, location. You can have collaboration happening when you're free at midnight, can be 6 in the morning, can be at noon, can be whenever. Unlike current way, it used to be, we need to schedule a meeting where all you guys come in from different locations. We're going to have a meeting from 12 to 3 at our Malibu campus. And that's not effective. That's a waste of everyone's time, commuting, traveling, whatever. This lets collaboration happen in real time, all the time.
That's a really great point. There's a follow-up question here also, Sean, about the moderators. Do you identify moderators in the challenge so that their engagement is viewed or received differently than those of the average participant? Is it clear to the participant that it's the moderator that is challenging them, for example, to engage?
Yes, they do know it's the moderator. So we'll list on there. The moderators are Bob, Brad, Melissa. We'll say who the moderators are. And usually we try to get about 4 or 5 of them. And the audience knows they're moderators trying to facilitate conversation. And the moderators, we tell them, it's not your job to be a dream killer. So don't go in there and say, your idea is horrible. You're not dream killers. Your whole idea is to facilitate communication, which is great because that's what our professors do. They know that's the form we use in classroom, so we take that same form and use it in the Grazia platform. Your idea is not to be a dream killer. Your role is just to spur conversation, facilitate communication, and encourage people to talk and collaborate. That's your role. We tell the moderators that ahead of time, make it clear, and they do a great job at it. But to remind them, your job is not to be a dream killer. Don't say their idea is horrible.
Do you have any plan on engaging the alumni base in the future?
Yes. So with us, what we did, just a little technical note to make it easier for our audience. At Pepperdine, if you're a student, a faculty, a staff, we have a single security database that has a sign-on for all our platforms, whether it be email, whether it be grades, whatever else. A single sign-on, so we're not having 20 different usernames for all these platforms we use. So we use a single sign-on security database within our IT department. So we tied that into Spigot. So when you want to get into Grazia, you don't need to log in, create a new ID. You can use your Pepperdine credentials. So it's very simple. It made it easy to adapt. But our alumni don't all have Pepperdine email addresses and accounts. So for that, we need to set up a different technical setup to get them involved. So yes, for our next event we're going to do, not next, but in the future here, we're having our 50th anniversary next year of our business school. Big kickoff, big event we're going to do down at the LA Live Staples Center area. And we're going to have a one-day, like hackathon jam type thing where we're having ideas, collaboration, speakers like TED Talk type stuff, engaging our alumni and our community, and also not just in person but virtual. So we're going to have this Spigot platform running all that great stuff and having our 40,000 alumni get an email. And whether they're in Saigon, Taipei, Beijing, New York, wherever, we want all them engaging with this event that day. It's going to be in October, and really collaborating for the future of our business school. And having the 50th anniversary gets everybody kind of feeling nostalgic, whatever else. So I think there's going to be some great engagement. And people that might have graduated 40 years ago, well, we'll see, 5 years ago, whatever, coming in saying, I really feel my business school. Here's something I thought about, I've noticed in industry. How about this? And we're just waiting for the ideas just to spawn and go crazy with our alumni, let alone other people we're going to allow in too in industry. But we're excited for those 40,000 alumni to really engage with the school and see what they think.
That's great. One final question that's come through, if you would like to share a few comments about the future of education and how Pepperdine is making that a reality.
That's a funny thing, the future of education. We have a lot of ideas and we have a lot of questions, but not all the answers. And that we shouldn't have all the answers. So that's exactly why we're using this crowdsourcing platform. We want to see what everyone else thinks too. Because if we were just deciding ourselves, here's the future, well, it's limited to those people that were deciding that future. If we go to the crowd and we ask everyone, that's probably going to be a lot more accurate of what actually is going to be going on in the future. So we're seeing a lot more about leadership, ethics, which is something I think Pepperdine, we believe we have a real ability to champion. Where other schools, you might see them rigging systems for rankings. You might see other things happening where, head people in the schools are having charges against them. We think those different industries, those schools really can't make a claim for ethics. It'd be kind of hard, where Pepperdine can. So we see the future where there's a real gap, a leadership skill missing, is that leadership, ethics, and like our dean says, we're looking to make the best leaders for the world, not just the best leaders in the world. And that's how we want to make a difference in our plan and our society, is by putting leaders out there that are really value-centered, ethically based, and want to make changes. And when you do the studies, do the numbers, there's studies showing that companies that have values-based leaders, values-based initiatives in their mission statements, they actually outperform financially the other companies in the S&P 500. So ethics isn't something that costs you. Ethics is something that pays for you. So you want to get ethical leaders, value-centered leadership, things like that. And we see the future of education creating those types of students that graduate and have that in their background. So that's something we're really latching onto, seeing that as coming in with AI also. So there's a lot of things going in the future that we want to be in the forefront of. And we see Graziadia as a way for us to harness that collective intelligence and make that happen for us as Pepperdine.
Thank you so much, Sean. Really appreciate you sharing your experience and your program. And I'm sure that our audience got a lot out of hearing about your experience and some of your lessons learned. For those of you in the audience, if you're interested in hearing more from Sean or from other innovation leaders, please plan to join us May 1st and 2nd in San Francisco at Ignite, which is our conference for innovation leaders. And thank you very much and have a great day.